Welcome to another edition of Points of Interest, brought to you by the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Paul Boucher. I'm the President and CEO of the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. And as we do each week, we present you the activities going on in the Upper Valley and have a special guest to speak on a particular topic. This week being no different, we have Jim Britton from the River Valley Community College out of Claremont, who is going to be speaking to us about his particular program. But first of all, we have success to report. We reached our 10,000 employments at the Lebanon Municipal Airport that we really needed to get and continue to get federal subsidies. And so the push was on with the help of Cape Air, who offered $12 trips to either New York or to Boston. And I went up to the airport last Monday, which was the last day of the year, and it was like a carnival up there. Everybody was having a great time. The planes were filling up. Cape Air brought extra planes up, and this one was filled and left. The other one was filled in the same way. And a lot of people went just took the flight down and back. Others stayed the weekend and came back on New Year's Day. So the goal was reached. And surpassed by roughly 240 employments. And the good part also was that in addition to the federal funding that we're going to continue to get, is people got acquainted with the airport and what some had never been to the terminal, seen what was going on, and the availability or the ease to get to New York or to Boston. The Cape Air offers 4 flights to Boston daily, 2 to New York. And if you're going to Boston, it's the same terminal as JetBlue. So if you check into Lebanon, you fly into Boston, JetBlue moves your luggage over, and you go anywhere that JetBlue flies. In New York, you fly into White Plains, and from there you are limousine right into Penn Station, and do your business there, tourists around, and then you can fly back from there back to Lebanon. So it was a great event, and we plan a little victory party at the beginning of February to celebrate the 10,000 employments. And of course, we will be working on this year's goals again to reach that same plateau. Secondly, we are working on the Home Life Show. A lot of people have been asking. We haven't seen anything on the Home Life Show. Well, you're not out yet. And normally we have the information, the invites have gone to the vendors in late December or sometimes even in early November. But this year, being the 35th anniversary of the show, we're looking to revamp it and possibly change the floor plan, change the name, just to spice up the show a little bit for the 35th anniversary. So as a result, committees have been meeting for a couple of months now to come up with some new ideas. So we hope to have that all settled, and by at least the 3rd week of January, that we will have the invites out for the show. Now these invites are for the vendors. We have 290 booths available, and you can buy single, doubles, or large ones that we have available in the booths. The invites are going to go to chamber members from the Lebanon Area Chamber and the Hanover Area Chamber, and then to all the vendors who were in last year. Chamber members and vendors from last year or in previous years will have first choice on the booths, but there's usually a few left that if anybody is thinking of participating in the show, want some information, give us a call here at the Chamber office at area code 603-448-1203, and we will put you on the mailing list to get the information on the show. The show is March 15, 16, and 17, and at Leverone Fieldhouse, which is the fieldhouse on Dartmouth campus. And really, for a nominal booth fee of a 10 by 10, you have in excess of 9,000 people that will be coming by your booth, and very inexpensive for the for the people that come through your booth. And it's not just the 3 days. It's a long-term type of thing. People who call the chamber office and say, for example, we saw somebody there that had gutters or awnings and such, and here it is the fall, and we'd like to buy some, so we give them the referrals. So we have that all year long. So it's a long-term proposition. So that will be coming out in December. I'm sorry, in January, late January, for the Home Life Show. And I say for people who visited last year's show, you haven't seen anything yet. Each show is different each year as we go. So that's some of the things that we're working on in the chamber office. And I invite people, I mentioned that a couple of times before, if we have relocated our chamber office. We went from 1 School Street to 2.5 South Park Street, which is really just across the street from where we were. Brand new quarters, nice and bright, and we have here pamphlets from all over the area. You do not have to be a visitor to come in. If you're thinking of going to the mountains or going skiing or snowmobiling, that type of thing, we have all the pamphlets here. So if you want to come by and pick them up, you're most welcome to do so. And then just look around at our new quarters. We'd love to have you. Today's guest is Jim Britton. Jim is Director of Workforce Development at River Valley Community College in Claremont. Been associated with them a long time, and we go back a long time. He is a graduate of our Leadership Upper Valley group from almost the beginning. Second class, third class, we're very close right from the beginning. Close. So Jim, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Paul, I appreciate it.
A little about your background, where you're from, education, that type of thing.
Sure, yeah. I have been working at the community college in Claremont for about 6 years now. And I first started out as a part-time recruiter and hung around long enough that they hired me to do continuing education. And continuing education continued to grow and expand, and we had a lot of requests from businesses for training. So it was a natural proposition to look at a position like Director of Workforce Development. And what I primarily do is interact with businesses and the college in order to deliver training and help support workforce development efforts throughout the community that we serve, which includes Lebanon, all the way up and down the Connecticut River, actually, between Lebanon and Keene. We have a facility in Keene, too. So we cover quite a bit of ground in there.
Your background in education, where you're from, that type of thing?
Yeah, sure. No, I was a military kid, basically. My dad was in the Air Force, so we lived all over the world. I lived in Guam when I was in first grade, and then we went over and lived in Germany and Belgium and California, Texas, all over the place. And my folks bought a place in Sunapee in 1978, and I just can't seem to want to leave. I love it around here.
Your home.
Yes, right, yeah. Exactly. And as far as education, Paul, I did all of my bachelor's degree work up at Plymouth State University, just up the road, and did my master's degree online with a university called Western Governors University, which is a university that was put together by 13 Western governors to help serve the rural population that wasn't near any college. So that was quite a helpful experience. I also teach online, and that's one of the things that gives me the background and understanding what it's like to be on the other side of the terminal, if you will.
Oh, wonderful. Very, very good. You have a special program that you're coming out with this spring, if you will. I mean, you want to talk a little bit about that?
We've got a number of things going on, and because I'm part of the college, I always like to remind people that we do have a semester coming up starting January 22nd, and we're still registering students for classes, and we have a broad range of different programs, including, of course, a business program, and we're very strong in all the allied health fields, things like nursing and LNAs and physical therapy, in respiratory therapy. We've got a new program in sleep study, and I can't pronounce it because it's a very long name, but we've been doing pretty good with that. So there's a number of different programs, and of course we do a lot of non-credit things too, all that education in Microsoft Word and Excel and those things that are real key for workforces as well.
The sleep course, are you allowed to sleep during class?
Well, I don't know, if so.
I'd like to take that course. I'd like to take that course. Some of your successes, I know of, quite a few of yours, but some of the programs that you have done have been really working with the workforce. I'm thinking of hypotherm for one and that type of thing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your recognition of that, Paul. And we've been working with Hypertherm with particularly their machine tool education for about 3 or 4 years now. And I have been spending quite a bit of time up at Hypertherm of late. We've got an office up there that they allow us to use, and we're working on a program right now through a federal grant to help support their continued efforts at recruitment for those machine tool operators. And the history of machine tool as we know, the Precision Valley is very strong. And Hypertherm in particular has been a very strong employer. Even when the recession hit, there was a very short period of time when they stopped hiring people, but they've been hiring people right along and continuing to expand. You've probably seen their new building up the road.
It is. It's quite impressive. In fact, you see it right from the interstate, and I understand they look at to hire 200 people to fill that particular place there.
Yeah, well, we are slated to help them with the hiring of over 200 people over the next 3 or 4 years, I think, as part of the program.
Wow.
And that history with machine tool operators has been a little bit of a challenge recruiting people into that profession. Back from the days when a number of places went elsewhere, if you will, a lot of manufacturing went overseas, there's a perception that manufacturing was going away, but it really wasn't, simply evolving into more higher levels of what we call advanced manufacturing. And from that standpoint, our competitive edge in America is the precision aspect of what they do. That, they're building pieces that have tolerances of 10 places beyond the digit, so it's very precise work. And it's work that isn't easily duplicatable by other countries, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's interesting because I was living in Claremont at the time, and as you say, as the Joy Manufacturings, the Jones and Lamsons, the Bryant's Gear Shaper, all of those went out, and it really made an impact in Claremont. But two people thinking machine tool, you've got a Bridgeport and you've got a piece and you're going like this and you're getting dirty, not anymore.
no, and in fact, it's interesting that you say on Bridgeport, because these days most of the machines done on computer numeric controlled machines. So it's not so much of that, working right here with your hands. It's more interacting with the machine and understanding, okay, this code isn't working properly, what do I do? And those kinds of things. Of course, there's still elements of actually physically putting the products through the process, but now machine operators are able to run 3 and 4 and 5 machines at a time.
Yeah.
So there's an efficiency on that level. When it comes to the manufacturing, one of the challenges that really is happening is recruiting new people, and that's what's kind of unique about Hypertherm's program, is that they take people with no background in that area and they hire them and train them in 9 weeks' time to become CNC operators.
Yes. And the salary's pretty good, and the benefits.
Yes, yeah. Well, Hypertherm, as you know, continues to be one of the leading corporations to work for in New Hampshire. I saw Business New Hampshire magazine had them again rated as one of the top 10 companies to work for in New Hampshire. So they're a progressive employer, and they give back to the community in a big way. So we're really pleased to be associated with them.
Yeah, we, the Chamber honored them this year as our Business of the Year in the Upper Valley, and we were very happy to do so because they're, as you say, very community-minded and basic. You got a welding program too.
We went over to Structural Bridges in Claremont and took that intensive model, if you will, and that intensive model, by the way, in 9 weeks' time, those individuals who are both River Valley Community College students and also Hypertherm employees, they go to school every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, plus homework for 9 solid weeks. So it's a very intense program, and it's a difficult program. And a couple of years ago, we were asked by some of the folks in New Hampshire if we could help out Structural Bridge with some of their hiring. We had never really done welding before, and so in conjunction with a couple of other people who helped design the program at Hypertherm, looked at seeing if we could recreate this somehow for welding. And so we gave it one shot. And at the end of that particular program, we both mutually agreed that it would take a lot more fine-tuning in order for it to work for welding. What Structural Bridge, and they're located in Claremont, by the way, essentially does is a very unique type of welding. They work on those big gigantic bridges that you see, and they have a workspace that's as big as an airplane hangar, and they put together these bridges and take them in pieces down all over the country, mostly on the East Coast. And the type of welding they do is what's known as sub-arc welding. And that is welding not underwater, which some people think that's what that means. It means that you can't see what you're welding, so you can't really see what you're welding. And it's such a unique way of doing welding. It's just something that we don't have any experience with. As I understand it, Paul, White Mountains Community College up in Berlin does have a regular welding program, and they've been working with them of late.
It's huge. I've been in the building, and it looks like, as you say, almost the size of an aircraft carrier.
Oh, it's incredible.
Undercover, and when they put these on trucks to move, it's unbelievable. And my understanding is that their backlog is 5 years in orders, because a lot more effort is being done with our roads and bridges right now. Some of them really haven't been touched since the 50s when they were put together, and really need some help. So they're really need replacing.
Yep.
So it's another great trade for somebody to get involved
Sure,
in.
yeah, undoubtedly.
And pick up a trade there
Now,
also.
we're pretty lucky in this area because the unemployment rate is pretty low, and particularly up in Lebanon, Hanover, and the rest of the, I like to call it the upper valley, has been very fortunate in terms of having a lot of jobs available. And what I do through the Office of Workforce Development, I always describe as being local jobs for local people. So we're constantly trying to make that connection between what employers are looking for and what the people who live in the region are looking for, because that's where the connection needs to be made.
Looking to the future, anything, any other projects of that same nature?
Yeah, well, we've got a couple of things that I would love to share with both you and your audience. And one of them is we are starting, in conjunction with a little bit of help from Dartmouth, a program in IT security, particularly for medical records. So as we know, IT security is huge. And I just happened to see in Sunday's paper, there was a story exactly about the fact that all of the hospitals are now switching over to medical records, but there hasn't been a whole lot of attention paid to the security aspect in terms of keeping hackers out of it. And there's a lot of personal information in there that could be very valuable, particularly to, I'm thinking insurance companies for one thing. So that's one program that we're working on. Henry Collier is our computer director for that program, and he's been working very diligently on that particular program. Another program that I think that's important that folks are aware of, particularly business people, is a year ago we started a program known as Work Ready New Hampshire. And what Work Ready New Hampshire is specifically designed to address all those concerns that we hear about soft skills in the workplace. When Governor Lynch was going around doing business roundtable discussions throughout New Hampshire, that's the one constant theme that he heard, was the folks that some of the companies were seeing just weren't prepared to work, or they weren't prepared for work. They weren't creating good quality resumes. They didn't know much about showing up on time, how to collaborate, how to deal with difficult situations, how to be team players, all of those kinds of soft skills that are so important to employers. And through that initiative, there are 4 of the 7 community colleges which began a Work Ready New Hampshire program, and Claremont was one of the pilot sites. We run this program in Claremont, and we also run it in Keene. We have a class that just started in Keene today, as a matter of fact. We have 18 people in it. Mm-hmm. And those students come to us for 4-week half-day sessions in soft skills. We've got a whole curriculum designed to help them understand how they could be more successful when they become employees. And part of this whole training program includes a certification. At the end, they take an exam known as the National Career Readiness Certificate. That certificate is designed by the company that, actually ACT, the alternative to the SATs.
Yeah.
And this exists in 47 other states. Vermont has it as well. It's called something different in Vermont, obviously. But that national certification will identify people's skills in 3 key areas: math, locating information, and also reading for information. And they score anywhere from 1 to 7, I think, is the highest level in each one of those categories. And ACT has gone out and done what they call job profiles. And a job profile will outline to an individual what the ideal score is in each of these categories for somebody to be successful in that particular position. For example, we were talking about machine tool operators. A machine tool operator would ideally have a 4 in math and a 3 in locating information and a 3 in reading for information. So if somebody aspires to be a machine tool operator, certainly they want to score at those levels of the National Career Readiness Certificate. So if I wanted to become a brain surgeon, which I obviously don't, I might have to score 7 in all those categories.
Yeah.
So it gives the students a certification that they can show to an employer that says both that they've had training in soft skills and also they've got a national certificate of recognition from ACT called the Work Ready Certificate. And they take that to an employer and say, this is what I've done to better myself as an employee, so I'm ready to do the work that you have.
Wonderful, excellent. So now we're between semesters. Registration is for next semester beginning?
It's ongoing now. We're taking registrations now, and classes start the 22nd, the day after Martin Luther King Day.
Excellent. And there's always openings?
There's, well, pretty much.
Well, some courses, some popular ones?
Yeah, there are some popular
Yeah.
courses, and particularly the nursing program has usually got a waiting list for it. And, you know, our enrollment has been pretty steady. We had been up, particularly during the recession, about 10% almost every single semester. We're finally seeing that peak a little bit. I think we've reached about what our capacity is going to be for the time being. That doesn't mean that there aren't other opportunities out there, because there certainly are. We're trying to be as sensitive as we can be to what new needs there are out there. And I know we'll be putting forth a couple of new liberal arts programs that have specific concentrations in things like engineering and biological sciences. So that's an area that we're expanding into that we don't have much programming in right now.
And the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce partners with the River Valley Community College in offering scholarships. We will be distributing those scholarship applications to the financial aid people. So if you are interested in a scholarship and have been accepted at River Valley, along with 4 or 5 other schools in the Upper Valley, we will have those applications there. And since we started the program in 1992, the Lebanon Chamber has contributed over $75,000 in scholarships to adult learners in the Upper Valley. And so we're looking to continue that. All those funds come from our golf tournament that we do in the spring, and they're all dedicated to the scholarship program. So if you're in need of a scholarship, go to your financial aid offices, and be glad to pick one up there. So we thank you very much for being with us again, Jim.
My pleasure.
And, another program of Points of Interest brought to you by the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. And we'll be back next week with another program. Until then.